Hello, everybody. This is Book Club. We are doing X-Men 25, Fatal Attraction. This week has been D's pick for the topic and book, and we're going to get her started with D. Runk. So much like the X-Men, whenever Professor X got his team together, the team of Book Club is here.
Yeah. Here's the it's a double cover or a
Wraparound.
wraparound cover. So here's the full cover. I enjoy that cover a lot. Um, very impressive. So this book starts off with the president of the U.S. talking to the president of Russia, and they're pretty much saying, "Hey, Magneto's fucking up. We gotta initiate the Magneto protocols, which is basically just a bunch of satellites that cover the Earth. And while Magneto is in the atmosphere of Earth, he can't use his powers. So they're basically saying, "Hey, stay up on your asteroid, dude. We don't want to fuck with you no more." Magneto took this really well, in my opinion. He was like, "Hey, this is fine. I'm happy with this. I'm better off here." No, actually, he set off a worldwide EMP that fried every electrical item on Earth. And coming up here,
And that's why everybody needs to have some cash.
yes. But coming up here, they're talking about how bad it was, right? And they're like, "Oh, well, early reports are saying at least hundreds, maybe thousands died." If you flipped off all the power in the world right now, you're talking in the hundreds of thousands in the first night alone.
Every plane
Easily.
would crash.
Every plane would crash. People on life support, adios. It is a really bad deal.
Yeah.
Xavier is getting very dark here, talking about how, "Hey, this is no longer about my dream. This is about us needing to survive." And you know, Jean, Beast, and Cyclops are three of the original members of the team. They've been with Xavier the longest, and they're all kind of like, "Man, this is wild. Like, can't believe this is going this way." And then in walks Professor X. He's walking because he's got this suit, and he uses his mental power to make his legs operate in this. Yeah. And it actually takes a toll on his mental power. So he's not quite the telepath that he would normally be, but he is assembling a strike force to go up to Asteroid M to respond to Magneto for detonating that EMP across the entire planet. And right here, you kind of see they're going like, "Hey, we need Wolverine and Gambit because they're stealthy and they get shit done. We need two telepaths because Xavier's, half of his power is already crippled." Poor choice of word for Xavier. And then I didn't like this one. Rogue and Quicksilver. Speed and strength, I like that. But then they also have a strong desire to settle unresolved emotional conflicts. It doesn't sound like a great person to put into battle. Usually emotion in the battle does not help. But hey, what do I know? I don't lead the X-Men, so maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, man, they're gearing up. Rogue's having her second doubts, like, "Hey, maybe I like what Magneto's doing." Gambit's like, "Oh, that's crazy, bitch." And they start suiting up, and they're pretty much saying like, "Hey, you guys aren't coming back. Like, this is a suicide mission."
Yeah, it's a suicide mission.
And
he picked
I
his
love
least favorite X-Men to go with him.
Yeah, well, and he didn't want to bring Jean because he doesn't want her to die. But I love that page right there. That looks pretty cool.
Except Jean's in a position to say, "Been there, done that."
Yes. Yeah, so they get up to the asteroid, and Colossus sees them. Because Colossus in the last episode, he joined with the Acolytes and Magneto, and he sees them, and like, "Hey, is there any retaliation activity on Earth?" And he goes, "Nope, not on Earth." And he just kind of lets the X-Men get on board. So pretty crazy. Like, he's not trying to turn his back on Magneto, but you can tell that he's having some second thoughts about joining Magneto after he detonated this EMP blast. Like, he more joined Magneto because he was mad at Xavier. It was a lot less of, hey, I like what Magneto's doing.
Mhm.
So he's already having his second doubts. Here, they're starting to encounter some resistance from some of the people on Asteroid M. They start scrapping a little bit. Some dialogue. Quicksilver is running through the corridors looking for people. Xavier is communicating with him telepathically, which is pretty.
Well,
I like
no,
that.
I think Quicksilver was on a mission to put some disk into the computer so they could hack
Oh, that's
the
right, yeah.
system.
And they realized while they were up here that Magneto's using a lot of Shi'ar technology to build this ship and keep it running. Here they're strategizing what they're going to be doing next. They're talking about it being easy. Xavier's doing a lot of talking like he usually tends to do.
Why use 2 words when you can use 30?
Yeah, exactly.
He does talk
You know,
a lot. It's like both him
he
and Magneto
does.
just go on and on. It's like,
Oh, I know. They'd get so much more done if they just got to the point, It's about this time where Magneto's like, "Hey, I know what y'all are doing, you bitches."
I wish that's what he said. That would have been more funny.
Yeah, it would have been more to the point. Look at all this dialogue he drops here.
He
That's what
wouldn't
I'm
have
saying.
said
Him and
he would
Xavier
have
just
said
go on and on.
he would have said something like, "For thou female of the canine variety."
That would have still been shorter than all this garbage that he spews out here. But
Mhm.
then they really get to scrapping here. Rogue gets caught up on some tendrils from Magneto, and here Jean and Professor X are using their powers to kind of combine a little bit, and Gambit gets dealt some metal cards that he didn't want to play with. Quicksilver jumps in, knocks his helmet off, which is always key because Magneto needs that helmet to help block out Xavier's power.
Mhm.
And Magneto straight up tries to kill his own son.
Yeah.
And it's getting pretty heavy here.
Well, he sees his son as a betrayer, so.
Yeah.
Things are going to be awkward at Hanukkah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, Hanukkah.
And he says it right there. I must now slay my son. Magneto or Wolverine doesn't care for that too much, and he just starts slashing at him. Now, this is the one scene right here where I didn't care for the art, because the way they describe it, the way it's written with the dialogue, Wolverine has seriously wounded him here. And it just looks like he scratched his clothes off on the art.
Yeah.
So
I think they were trying to avoid too much blood and gore, maybe?
yeah, but then that's where you maybe get a little bit of blood on the ground.
That's always one of the things with Wolverine. That he's slashing around with knives that are would literally cut people into pieces.
Yeah.
And yet, whenever he does it, it's like there's no blood.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
So, but he, despite what the art would tell you, he is seriously wounded Magneto here.
But Magneto can kind of regenerate himself, right?
I don't believe that's one of his powers, but
no.
It wouldn't surprise me if he could.
Not mangled.
What he can do, though, if he's disemboweled, for example, what he can do is magnetically hold his blood, like the pieces
together. Yeah, that's what I
together.
thought.
But
yeah, there is iron in your blood, so
he doesn't heal right away.
Okay.
And then a lot of words again. Magneto and Xavier all talking a whole bunch, and this is where Magneto hits him with the huge energy blast, and it begins with a small tug, an almost gentle pull, a harder yank, then a wrenching tear, and all that juicy adamantium just starts flowing out of him. which they recreated in the X-Men animated series,
I
X-Men
know. I thought that
97,
was really cool.
and just pulls all the adamantium out of them. Very, very interesting storyline. And then, they're worried about him. A bunch of talk here from Xavier, which I don't even know why they're mad at Magneto for doing that. Like, he was defending himself. Like, Wolverine made it pretty clear. I'm going to chop you up. So Magneto did what he needed to do to survive there. But this is where Magneto gives him a really long speech, or Xavier gives him a really long speech, and pretty much erases his mind. Just
Makes him
completely
a vegetable, basically.
Yeah, he voids him out. He runs the VHS tape over the magnet. It's not good. And it also really weakened Xavier. Not cool. And then Colossus shows up, and he's like, "Hey, damn, look what you did to my new boss. This job sucks now. Better get out of here." And that's pretty much the gist of the story. Yeah. So hey, I'll get into my scores. It's out of 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna give the front cover a 4, which is the highest score I've given a cover.
Whoa.
I give the internal art also a 4. I love the art in this book. It's I keep forgetting which one does it. It's Andy Kubert does the art on this one, and he had to fill in the shoes of Jim Lee, who had recently left for Image, and
Yeah, he did that really well too. Yeah.
I think he did a fantastic job. The one issue I had with the art was the lack of blood, but I don't blame that on Andy Kubert. That's probably a limitation that he wasn't allowed to add in. So,
well, isn't it still? This is still comic code.
yeah, true. But yeah, I give the art a 4. I give the story a 3.5. For me, I wanted to say 4, but it does get a little comical how much they just drone on in the middle of these very intense fights. You don't really need to say all that. Like, it's kind of like if I'm telling you to vote for one politician and you're trying to tell me to vote for the other politician, why are we even talking about it? Are you really going to change your mind because I said this guy is dumb and you said he's evil? Like, no, just move on, agree to disagree. Sorry about the planet that I just EMP'd. I promise I won't do it again. All right, now lock the door on your way out. It's getting cold in here. Overall, man, I got to go. I'm going to go 3.75.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right. So I am going to pick Matt for next, if that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Well, we got the review. As I said, he went over the story, and a lot. I find that this now that we've read 2 or 3 of them, now I have an idea what's going on. Now I like it much better.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go back and read the other parts. Just
hold on. I'm sorry, Matt. Right before you start, I want to say hi to GT Key, Bleecker, and Beckerman. I appreciate y'all for stopping in.
And anyway, so as I said, I'd like to go back and now reread them with the. Okay, I know what's going on now, so let's do things.
I think they still suck. Don't worry.
Well, anyway, no, this felt like it was definitely the best issue of the bunch of this story.
I think it's been getting better with each.
Yes, because the more I understand, the better I know what's going on. And my question is, was that liquid adamantium coming out of him, or was it solid?
I think he liquefied it. He liquefied it.
Yeah, adamantium can be made to be in a liquid state if it's heated enough or if it's manipulated by Magneto, pretty much.
I was going to say that's
Yeah.
one hell of an energy transfer to get it to melt. I don't
Yeah.
think you can survive that. Anyway, let's just start with the cover. I really like the cover. I think it's the best cover of the three that we've done or whatever. Is it 3 or 4 we've done so far?
3 so far.
3
No,
so
we've
far.
done 4.
No, we
Oh, no,
don't.
we've done 4. 4,
Yeah.
4, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
It's the best cover of the 4 that we've done so far. And so I'm going to actually give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because I did like the art on the cover. And the interior art, I'm also going to give a 3.5 because overall, it was a better than. First of all, it's Andy Kubert. I like Andy Kubert.
Yeah.
I like all the Kuberts. Okay, so I'm more likely to like it than say even a Jim Lee. I mean, I like Jim Lee, but only when he does certain characters. I would give the interior art a 3.5, and I use the same argument as D. There should have been a little more blood, and or I find that it didn't look as real. Okay, I know it's comics, but it didn't look realistic for what it's supposed to be. Okay, you're drawing liquid out of a human being that should be splashing everywhere, whether it's blood or adamantium.
I think what they were trying to show that it's kind of like mercury. When you put mercury and then imagine that kind of dripping out of somebody, like kind of coming out.
Mercury,
almost like,
if you're pulling it out, it's still going to splash around.
no,
It's not going to come out in one little.
Yeah,
Matt, I would say that he's manipulating it magnetically. So it's not like he's just pouring it out of him. He's pulling it out of him. And it's coming out through his pores.
I get that. I just, again, I feel it could have looked a little more detailed.
I kind of picture it like it's got like magnetic waves, and it's like it's blotching up because of his strength, you know, kind of deal. But I don't know.
I mean, if they had drawn lines like they do for Cosmic Boy when Cosmic Boy uses his magnetic powers, then I could see what's going on better, and I'd get a better understanding.
I think that part was just poorly drawn, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying. They did a much better job in the TV series.
Right.
It almost looked like the same frame to me. They just took the cartoon. I was like, we're waiting on this fucking this time to come, and they just dragged a couple panels out of the comic and flashed them. It's like you guys could have done a lot better than that, but that's just how I think.
Okay.
And I also agree with D when it comes to the writing that they went on and on and on and on and on. But the difference is that I liked everything else a lot, and I would have given this a 4.5 if it wasn't for the on and on and on and on. So that on and on and on is going to cost it 0.5 point, and I'm giving it a 4.
I saw that as a personality trait of both Magneto and.
Oh yeah, it's melodramatic. Both of them are very melodramatic, and they play off each other. There's no argument there. They're used to arguing with each other like a couple of old lawyers and a couple of old buddies. Like
even in the movies, if you watch the movies, it's the same way. They talk a lot.
I know
each other. You know.
I know, and that I realize that's the character, but at the same time, like. We're in the middle of the fight, but I'm going to take 5 minutes to give a speech, you know?
But because most of I think because both of their powers, and this is like me trying to be devil's advocate a little bit here, like Wolverine, his thing is like clawing at you, you know, it's action. It's like something, but both Magneto and Xavier, they're all telepathic. You know, you know, even though Magneto's manipulating metal and all that kind of stuff, it's a telepathic power. It's not like he needs to fist fight with somebody.
No, I get that.
So you can talk while kind of doing that. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. No, I get that. But it's like, you know, I'll get to the point. I agree with D. Get to the point. So overall, then I would say the book rates a 3.75.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Hazu is right. It's like anime. Anime is like that. They talk a lot.
Yeah.
They talk a lot during fights.
Very much so.
I'm going to use this power on you, and I'm going to explain what the heck I'm doing.
Thank you, Matt.
So yeah. But okay. So I like the cover the best of the ones that we reviewed in terms of the foily covers and foily hollow cover with the hollow card covers. So I'm going to give it. I don't want to give it a 4 in a way because I feel like Golden Age is so much better, So I'm gonna I'm gonna give it a 3.5 for the cover. But I do really like the cover. I should almost give away. I'll even be better than that. I'll give it a 3.75.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I really, Dee's probably right. It is probably a 4, but I'm just being a jerk. So I'm gonna give it a 3.75. But yeah. So the interior art, I liked it but disliked it at the same time. There's one element that I felt like was really weak about the interior art. If you look at the faces, it's like the same face for all the guys. It's like their face is like stoic and it's
No,
just
I
like
think you got a point there. Yeah.
but there was a scene where Rogue is kind of like questioning everything, and there you could see emotion on her face in terms of the way it was drawn. That was the only thing where they did that. Everything was very rigid and kind of didn't really express things that well in terms of emotion. That'd be my big complaint. I liked the way the panels were done in terms of they were very splash pagey. So I'm going to be a little harsher on the interior art than probably you guys were. I'm going to give it like I still think it was good art though. I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Okay, so I thought it was exceptional, but not like it. Just the faces. I wish they had done something with the faces. And then story. I really liked the story. I thought it was the best of the ones that we read within this series, and I think that part of the reason for that is when they introduced a whole bunch of characters. Like when they did the EMF thing, they showed like the Fantastic Four. They showed all the characters throughout the world and how they were getting impacted, and they were showing how they were like. Beast was like, "Oh, I'm already figuring out how to get the power back on," and everyone was like, sort of trying to, solve it because they were smart people and they were figuring it all out. And I really liked that. It showed them very quickly how they were resolving the situation. And I kind of liked the fact that they showed a whole bunch of characters, but at the same time, you kind of I felt like it was a bit like nostalgic to see them in a way, and it was weird. See the Fantastic Four in an X-Men book is kind of cool. I don't know. I just thought
Yeah, it was.
and especially you got the Thing kind of coming out of the bath, and he's
Well,
like,
that was actually something like that's what I'm saying. I like the
yeah.
writing. And that's
There
one
was
of the
there was a lot of that
get
was
to
really
see-
well done.
you
And
get
I
to see what's
Yeah,
going
the
on.
beginning with Nick
Yeah.
Fury
And
was fun too.
yeah, the way the way the book starts is like they did this side panel thing, right? Like vertical panel thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
And you got the president of the United States in the White House, the Russian guy in the Red House. It's like and then they were setting it up kind of like all
If
these.
it's Yeltsin, they're lucky he wasn't at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but they were showing that humans were really afraid of what was happening, and this is they were doing this not because they thought it was the best solution in the world, but it's an act of desperation. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really kind of cool that they set up that level of fear within the human society, that this is the end of mankind if we don't do something. I thought that was kind of a good setup, and I liked. I didn't really okay. So another small complaint, just a small complaint about the teams. So they set up these 3 teams, right? Quicksilver and Rogue, Gambit and Wolverine, and so the only team that actually kind of worked as a team was Jean Grey and Professor X. The others didn't really do anything like, oh, I got to sneak in, or
Yeah.
they didn't do any of that. At first, I guess Gambit he did kind of, say, hey, we got to sneak in. But then they were all talking the whole time. So they was like, well, this is not really working. It's like,
That's like what like we joke about it during D&D about like how well I'm moving silently, and then you roll a 2 and we go, so you're moving silently like this. I'm moving silently, nobody can see me.
exactly. It's like, it was kind of like that. It was like, okay. So I felt like the teams weren't really utilized as teams, and they made it sound like they had this big plan. but it was more like, let's just teleport there and then do whatever crazy stupid things we have to do. So that I felt like it was a little bit, could have been better written. That part, just that's me being very picky. But I give the overall writing a 4. I thought it was very well done. As I said, best of the series so far. And one of the things I have to comment just quickly about the writing was they really set up 2 major stakes. One, they've made Magneto like a comatose dude. I don't know, like he's feeble-minded now. And Wolverine, they destroyed him. Like, he's like a mangled mess now. So that sets up, oh my goodness, what's going to happen next, kind of thing. What are we going to do with these 2 major characters that are like loved by fans? These are 2 major characters that are totally mangled. So that is kind of an interesting place, and they left it with that. There's no resolve about that. Maybe the situation is resolved in terms of the threat to mankind, but the threat to our characters that we love, well, we don't know what's going to happen to them. So it really does set up that there should be one more book, or actually there's 2 more books that will answer some questions. So I thought that was cool. So yeah, as I said, I gave it a 4 for the writing. Overall, I would give it a 3.5. 4. Nah, let's give it a 4. I think kind of all the parts don't really add up to a 4, but actually it probably deserves a 4. I would say this is probably one of the better books from the 90s. And
Wow.
probably. So yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, it certainly has one of the notable events of the 90s. Wolverine losing his adamantium. That carries over for a while, doesn't it?
So
Almost, at least I think about 10 years. Don't quote me on that, but I know it was close to 10 years if it wasn't quite 10 years.
Oh, really? I didn't realize it was that long. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we all read Love and Romance #4, the Donald Trump. No, I'm just kidding. That's not. The cover's good. I'm going to start off. I'll go through the book and then I will tell you my points. Well, I guess I could start it when it gets there. All right. I like that Nick Fury art there, and the Forge looks good. Looks real good, man. I like how it's looking. You got the double page splash. It's some fire shit. And like y'all said, the internet wasn't like a well-known thing at this time. Like what you guys are saying, if this would happen now, it'd be a lot more devastating. But even back then, it was probably a big fucking deal, Love this fucking little group shot right here. I don't have the issues with distinguishing their face, but I know what you're saying. Like the lips are kind of tight, little thin-lipped and cheeky.
You see it on some panels, like more so, where they're all the same face almost.
Yeah. I don't think we got enough fighting from Exodus in this issue. I guess I could kind of start with my stuff I need to say. So I kind of feel like 1, 2, and this one are about equal for me. I feel like the Cable getting mangled was more devastating than the Wolverine. I know everybody loves Wolverine, but just graphically, like it was a little more graphic when Cable got
was better
fucked up.
done.
Yeah,
you're right.
Different artist, though, right?
it was good. Yeah, I was surprised as the first time I experienced that, so that kind of shook me. So I like the last comic before this one. Didn't keep up with 1, 2, and this one are about equal for me. Thing comes out in the towel, like we said. It's clobbering time with my toweled penis. You got, I guess this is setting up Excalibur, right? Because you got these 2 guys. Beast is fixing the mainframe. And then this is kind of like a little annual setup. It says, here's your 25th comic for X-Men, and it's kind of like a good filling, and Professor X is looking, he's looked a lot different through every issue. Like there was panels with that professor, he didn't look like this,
Yeah.
And then Cyclops is over here waving his dildo at the fucking.
It does look like that.
No. Yeah. What point? Oh, okay. So, the whole him like standing and shit. I thought that was probably one of the best parts of the book was him getting in a suit. And the point that I wanted to talk about was Cyclops and Jean are kind of talking to Professor X, and they're like, "Well, you know, Professor X, your on the field technique skills aren't as advanced as ours. You know, you're not.
Mhm.
They're talking to one of the strongest fucking team member. You're talking to the main fucking guy, and you're telling me his on the field tactics ain't gonna keep up. Fuck you.
You
Fuck
know,
you.
I agreed
Picard,
with that.
Fuck
so
no.
the thing is, the guy that the guy that played Picard and played Xavier is the same. The same person, right? I
Yeah.
forget his name for some reason.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart. In the Next Generation, Riker would always say, "Oh, you got to stay back. The captain has to stay back." I felt like
Sure.
it was that kind of vibe.
Yeah, well,
There's
they
almost a Next Generation kind of thing.
Which was hilarious because he never listened to Riker either.
well,
Exactly.
they're fucking talking about it on these panels or whatever, and Professor X kind of admits it. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is why we team up and shit," and if I was Professor X, I'd say, "Fuck you, Cyclops." And the other thing that I'm thinking is they just lost a big chunk of their team. Like Colossus is a big deal, so you kind of need someone to step in. So Professor X is like, "Fuck it, I'm stepping in." I mean, he could have called anybody. So they're putting on their suits. They're getting ready. Fucking Rogue's like, "I don't know if I'm up to this, Shug. I kind of want to bang Magneto again. Like, fuck you." They're going.
And Gambit's like a simp, by the way.
Yeah, he's
Did you
like,
notice?
definitely. But yeah, I think it's cool. Professor
That
X.
was kind of the face thing I was talking about right there.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? They're all the same kind of
Yeah.
weird face thing going on. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of neat seeing them in their little suits, though. I think. So Cyclops kind of admits at the end, like, I was kind of on y'all's side from the beginning because I think if it weren't for
Colossus, you mean? Yeah.
what do I call him, Cyclops? Yes.
Yeah.
So Colossus is like, I made it easier for y'all to be able to move around once you got up here from the fucking jump. So
Yeah.
Colossus is kind of a traitor or whatever, and he wasn't
But
feeling
he's
it.
not a complete traitor. He's the one that actually stays with Magneto and says,
Yeah.
"I'm gonna care for him."
They run into these guys and they had no time for it. I can't remember who took both of them out. Was it Jean or was it Professor X?
Professor X, he's like, "Okay, we don't
Yeah.
have time for this. Let's
Yeah,
just
so instantly Professor X is already showing him like I'm the fucking shit and just puts him down in a millisecond. Like it didn't make no fucking sense.
I think. Well, no, for me, it was like, we're not going to argue here.
No,
we have
yeah.
a job to do. We're going to just. I think one thing that they really wanted to show with Professor X, he means business.
Yeah.
He's not playing around. He's not here to like try to convince anybody of anything. He's here to kill Magneto.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's definitely a strong team with him out there because it usually ends up having to be him anyway. Even though they don't send him out that way. So they get to doing their shit. Here comes Acolytes or whatever. There's his boy Exodus. Yeah, I got a little snoozied in this. It wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it'd be. I didn't think it really touched the nostalgia for me that much. Besides Professor X like standing up, like you knew what was coming. There's Wolverine. So basically Wolverine gets the shit sucked out of him, and like y'all said, Magneto goes stupid and brain dead. So my scores for the cover. I'm not
the word I was looking for.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he's completely vegetable. I feel like he's going to be somewhat pretty cool when he comes back. My cover score is going to be a solid 3. I'm not going crazy. All the covers have been good except for the last one. Inside art, I'm going 3. I'm not blown away. There was some good double panels though. Story. I don't know if I'm gonna like this one as much. I kind of like the X-Force issue. I think, and I like number 1 more. So I'm gonna go. This is like an average. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but
No, we're thinking you're honest.
yeah, it's just 2.5 for me. And then overall 2.75. And that's it, guys. I'll get the scores and we can talk about it.
Damn it, Biggie! You brutalized my book.
You think so?
Yeah.
Alan gave it a higher score than even me.
All you guys did, but I feel like you guys underscored 1 and 3. I thought 1's fucking dynamite to me. And I mean, that's the one I grew up with, but it's so good.
1 was the most incoherent of them all.
No, it's so
Yeah.
good. 1 and 2 are really good. I mean, the beginning of 2 is slow and drags, but this one,
I found that this one was one of the fastest of them to read, actually.
Yes, this was also. I was most interested in this one of all of them.
Yeah. Like, one of the things that I kind of use to judge whether a book is well done or not is how fast it is to read. Like, it shouldn't be too fast where you just, there's nothing on it and you're just flipping through picture after picture.
Yeah.
But it should be fast enough that you feel like momentum or a feeling that, I really want to see what that next page is. And I felt like this, whereas other books, I felt like, how many more pages do I have to read? It's like, I really felt that on some of them. I was like, oh, geez, there's more story to go. Are we done yet?
Well, you know something? As I said, except for maybe the speeches, this was like to the points. Like, we got to do this. Can you go do this and you go this and you don't do that? Yes, I know you didn't mind the speeches, but
the whole time I had like the original X-Men 96 voices in my head with just the way Professor X sounds, and I just had that in my head the whole time.
I can't not picture Patrick Stewart as Professor X anymore. Same with Magneto. I can't not picture Gandalf. Ian McKellen. That's it.
right. I got the total score. It was a 56.50.
That seems high, isn't it?
It's very high.
6.5. That puts it at number 4 overall.
Yeah.
What's number 1 still? The Black Panther, right?
Hunter Prey is number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Black Panther is only half a point behind it. So let's see here. Let me get the calculator.
But D is the best at picking books, I think.
Well, me and D, because we both picked Hunter Prey, and then the second best book is my pick, so I'm the best.
Oh, yeah, well, best Black Panther. Okay.
Yeah, so Hunter Prey, we both decided on together. And like with this issue, I picked it, but I was going to pick whatever was next in the series. It wasn't like I was like smart and I picked X-Men 25. Like I got you all.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The next 2 issues could be better than this. I have no idea. This is the payoff book, as far as everybody says, but I haven't read the other 2 yet.
The next issue is my favorite of the series.
See?
This one?
No, the next one is my favorite of the series.
Oh, okay.
So it ends up being 70.6%, and it's definitely number 4.
What's number 3? Because we know
number
2.
3 is the Parasite.
Oh,
okay.
Fucking Matt. Fucking Matt. All right, well.
Parasite came in at 60, which is exactly 75%.
Wow. Okay. So,
who's next on the pick? It's Alan. Alan, it's up to you. Let me make you big. It's the tremendous, exciting moment where.
Really? Is it me up next?
You are.
So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Time flies. Now I got to think of a book. I didn't have one.
Hey, Rod the Rican, what's up, man?
What should I pick? Let's do something fun. a little bit different. You guys are gonna hate it, but let's do some Al Felstein.
Okay.
And we're gonna do Junior or Sunny. I'm gonna pick one. I haven't figured out which. I'll figure out a title, one of the titles. It's gonna be one of those books. It's gonna be Junior or Sunny.
Won't
It's
you
like
pick
all-
the best fucking Al Falstein Jr.?
Okay,
What
let me
issue
just
is
pick-
that?
Let's just pick the one behind me here. Junior.
Let's pick the
16.
big one.
Let's pick Junior 16.
That's the big
Junior
one, ain't it?
It's not the big one.
It's not the big one. Oh, okay.
No, but it gives you a sense of good girl.
Okay.
It's good
Yeah, the
girl
covers
Golden
for
Age.
those are good. Yeah, I like that.
But
Five.
the interior art is brilliant too.
Cover 5.
5's the big one, Matt.
Well,
No,
I
no,
could just
no.
see it from here, and
I
I'd
know
see
that
it.
one
Oh,
or two of them are the big ones. I just don't know. Which
No,
one.
Biggie, he
no,
was
there's a
saying
bunch
that
of
the
those.
cover is a 5.
Oh, the
He
cover's
was,
5. Yeah,
he was
I'm out.
already scoring.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
because
so
I can see the cover on Alan's wall.
I think the big one that everyone thinks of is Sunny 12, which is the first in the series. But the point is, let's do Junior 16, which is the one right there. It's good girl art. It's kind of like Archie. If you guys read Archie as a kid, it's kind of
Yeah.
like that. Has a bit more suggestive stuff in it. Lots of lingerie, lots of fun things going on. But it'll give you a sense of good girl. I'm not saying this is going to be like the most profound story that you've ever read, but it's kind of it's a cleanser from all this X-Men stuff. So it'll be a little bit different than the superhero stuff.
That's cool.
Okay?
Sounds great, man. Yeah.
Just
So
be
see us in
something
a
to
week, and we're going to be doing Junior 16. I think that we did a pretty good review today, and we're going to roll on out of here, man. Appreciate everybody in the chat and all your activity. See y'all later, man.